Hi, I'm Sean. Welcome to Secret Picture Factory. In this episode, we're going to create some support images that will prepare us for the upcoming museum-grade Warhol tutorial. We decided to break these tutorials out separately from the museum-grade Warhol because we thought that, while we'll need them for the tutorial, they are generic enough that they might be useful in projects outside of the Warhol project. We're going to create 5 different images, all with one thing in common. They're all designed to degrade the final image. This may seem strange, but much of the work designers and visual effects artists do is to try to roughen up images so they don't have such a sterile computer-like feel to them. The idea being that it's the mistakes that actually humanize an image and make it warmer. And, in the case of the images we're about to create, are trying to mimic real-world processes that are inherently imperfect since they involve inks, silkscreens, and hand-pulled squeegees, not to mention papers that have fiber and tiny imperfections in them. Okay, let's start making mistakes. Okay, the first thing that we are going to create for our support images is a file that we're going to call Squeegee impression. Squeegee impression. Sounds pretty awesome. Let's begin with a image that is 8 by 10, 8 inches by 10 inches. So we went, let me go back here. We went to File, New. We can go ahead and name it too. Let's call it Squeegee impression. And we want to make it inches, and we want to make it 8 by 10 at 300 pixels per inch. Click OK on that, and there we go. Pretty impressive so far, don't you think? All right, so we are going to start with creating noise, basically, or a cloud. Render clouds. Get ready to use this a lot. We are going to be revisiting the clouds quite a bit in creating these support images. So we rendered clouds, and what we want to do before we do anything else is we want to hit Shift Command F, which brings up the fade feature. And let's take that down to 50%. So it'll basically fade out those clouds by half. So we've got that. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to add noise on top of that. So filter, noise, add noise. And we want monochromatic, we want uniform, and the amount we want is 10%. So click OK there. Next thing we want to do is we want to blur all of that. So Gaussian blur under blur. And we want that to be set at 1.5 pixels. Click OK. All right. And we want to add another layer of noise on top of that. And we will leave our settings the same, 10%. And now the next thing we want to do is we want to render fibers over the top of that. If you've never used this, this is kind of an interesting plugin or filter. It's under render, along with clouds, it's called fibers. And it creates kind of an organic looking fiber kind of thingy. And so we want to set our variance to 16, strength to 4. That might actually be the default for the fibers. If not, go ahead and switch it up there to 16 and 4. Click OK. Okay, that'll put that on top. And we want to fade that out as well. So Command Shift F if you're on a Mac. And we want to take that down to 10%. So we just barely want it visible in there. Okay, that's the first image. Pretty easy, huh? If we zoom in on it, you can actually see there's 100%. We are trying to create what we're going to use to actually break up solid colors. So the cloud stuff in there is to make it splotchy. The fibers are actually to give the impression that a squeegee, which is it's like a piece of wood with a piece of rubber. It's a picture sort of like a long ruler with a piece of rubber underneath it. That's actually used to pull ink from the top of a silkscreen down to the bottom, and you basically spread the ink over the top of the stencil, and that's how you push ink through the stencil and onto the surface of the paper. It's also, incidentally, how they make silkscreen t-shirts and clothing. Same process. So, okay, so we've got that. We've got it called Squeegee Impression. Let's go ahead and save that. Save as. And I have a texture folder here that's already set up on my desktop, so we'll just save that as JPEG. That's fine. All right, we'll go ahead and close that, and we'll move on to the next one.